Alright, we're going to stream here. Let's see if the other one will work or not work. I'm going to have to delete some events here. I guess if I was a freaking kid, I could get this to work. So let's go back on my channel here, see if I can find this dang string. Alright, here we are. We're live. I can see we're live now. So, anyway. What's up, Dustin? Now, finally, I'm going to pop this chat out and let's talk a little baits, a little tackle, a little bit for a bit. So, I don't know what the issue was or is going on. I've also got some real fuzzy thing here on my screen, so I'm going to knock that off. So that's gone, and I think we should be good now. So it's been a little bit, guys, and I apologize. It is I've really had a really hectic July and later part of June, and was working a lot and doing other things. So unfortunately, I didn't get as much content out as I want to, but tonight after the video, I think it's scheduled to drop at 8 o'clock. Pickwick is going to be on here. So I had to really break this into two parts because it's going to be like a 30-minute video, and I said, no one wants to watch 30 minutes of fish catches. Well, maybe you do, but, just like the glory days at Kentucky Lake, a lot of people seem to forget you catch a lot of 1 to 2 pound fish. A lot of guys assume that Kentucky Lake was always 4 or 5 pounders every cast, and wasn't like that. But Jake caught some really good fish, and you'll see a couple of those, and you'll see me put a football jig to work. But breaking it up into two parts. So more importantly, how's everybody else been? Glad to see people in the chat. I'm going to share this over on my Facebook page really quick if you guys don't mind. If you got any questions, be glad to answer them tonight. Got about an hour and 15 minutes before I have to go to work. Because yes, I still have to work. Got to make that money. But I would like to talk about some stuff from iCast and some things that's kind of really pissed me off about the fishing industry. So this could be a nice little rant. I'll tell you what's really pissed me off is YouTube. When I go to stream, it's just been giving me all kinds of problems. I guess because I don't wear a Guggen t-shirt, it just wants to give me a bunch of crap. So, and if you're watching the stream too, I do want to let you guys know I try to keep my personal Facebook and my Baitman page separate. I don't really accept a lot of friend requests. I try to send you over to my Baitman page, and you're free to send me a message over there. It's just, I like to post stuff with my kids and other things. Some stuff I don't really want to share out in the public. So if you've been waiting for me to accept a friend request, I apologize. I really try to keep that stuff separate. So alright, so let's get started here. If you got a question, let's see. You got to tell these guys to buy a Crush 50 and shad scale. Yeah, man, that's a good bait. All that shad scale stuff from 6 Cents is awesome. I'd love to see them start making some deep crank baits in that color. I know they do, like Sob's Juice is really good. Do I like the spider lure? I haven't got one yet. I've been waiting to kind of drop an order from Tackle Warehouse and maybe some other places to get some of the new iCast stuff. I'm scared to death of spiders. Like ever since I watched the Arachnophobia movie, I can't stand them. I don't care if they're like this big or this big. Preferably, I like them giant where I can see them, so I can get the hell out of the way, or I can kill them. But I mean, I'm sure it'll work. But here's my deal with Lunker Hunt, and we're actually more live target. Their stuff's really popular at ICAST, and then 6 months from now, you don't ever hear nothing about it again. Like, they make their bread and butter at ICAST. And I'm trying to think of anything Lunker Hunt that's really good. Or maybe it's just not popular where I'm at. I do know the Fetch swim bait is basically their version of a 316 Rising Sun, and it's a pretty good bait. I think some of their hollow belly frogs are pretty good as well. But, we'll try it. We'll see. If anything, I'm going to make an awesome prank video with my wife. But, awesome Fish Freak Outdoors. I'm glad we could get our connection back. I don't understand what YouTube's doing there. I am sick of most things I see. Me too, buddy. I tell you, so Jason Beck makes a good point. I'll be honest with you guys. What's up, Bobfish Hunt? Nice for you to join. I'll be honest with you guys. I really think ICAST is pretty overrated. I think it's watered down. It's become kind of an event that you can learn just as much about ICAST and the baits from sitting behind a laptop, a computer, or a cell phone as you can being there. And really, nobody's changing the game. I mean, we got trolling motors. That's cool, but trolling motors have always been out. So what we actually got is an announcement of more competition. So competition is a good thing. But gosh dang, the prices on these things are ridiculous. No, Leo, I haven't. I didn't know there was any new Z-Bosses available. Is there new sizes or just a different thing? I'm sure Jake appreciates that, Billy. Jake is a good guy, man. He told me you lost a jank and he was pretty torn up for you. I think I might go fishing with Jake Friday because I need to get sharpened. I know Jake's got something, a little trick figured out to catch some big Kentucky Lake bass right now. He won't tell me, so he got blindfold you before I take you there. So, what's up, Steven? Yeah, so Teckle Nick Knocker, that's probably actually a bait that's got a really long story to it. That is the original Vixen, and it's the same mold, everything, and it's under Teckle. And so Hideki, who owns Teckle, he actually owned the molds to the original Vixen and the Paycheck Repo Man, and so they've come back out with it under the Teckle lure name. It's called the Kick Knocker, and you can pre-order it on Tackle Warehouse. Some places have already got some, and they sold out really, really quick. Yeah, Zoom Baits has a Senko coming out. Big surprise. Nothing original again, so I get it. They make soft plastics, and I use them all the time. I love like the Z-Crawl. That was a really good original bait from them. I like that. I would like to see their product development kind of shift to like it used to be. Like, we're going to come out with stuff, and other people are going to have to copy us. Not, well, let's just try to make a cheaper version, a more affordable version of a Senko and a Z Kitech and whatever not. I get it. It's a business, but. And, Zoom's deal is we make things in several hundred thousands of colors and at a cheap price, and no big deal. What's up, Monty Mac? So, but after this live stream, give it about an hour. It probably, if you get the bell set on the channel, make sure you do that. It'll give you a notification that I upload a new video, Ledge Fishing on Pickwick. And you'll get to see me and Monty make fun of Jake and his blue rods. And they make fun of me. We had a really good time. So, and then I also knocked off a jank, but I don't want to spoil too much. But yeah, so Ed Chambers is probably one of the best handmade crankbait guys there ever was, and he had a lot of guys trying to make baits like him. And his Zoom WC crankbaits are probably still some of the best handmades ever out there. I'll tell you something about ICAST that I didn't see or hear much stuff from Berkeley this year. I know they had a few baits come out, like Iaconelli's Skin Flute or whatever he calls it, worm, and that was about it. Last year they had a huge launch, tons of soft plastics. tons of hard baits. This year, I really feel Berkeley on the bass fishing side was a little down. Kyle Whitmer, I want to try a new lake besides Kentucky and Berkeley. Where would you go within a 2-hour drive? It depends on where you live. I'd go to Pickwick. I just got back from Guntersville, and I didn't catch fish. My GoPro messed up, so I was pissed off, and I got whipped, man. I went with Blake Hall, good guide, man, good fisherman, and he showed me what's up. Monty Mac, thank you again for your support, my friend. You're fixing to be a movie star, so you know, guys, it's getting close to deer season. It's getting close to duck season. If you're into that kind of thing, check out my buddy Monty McWilliams over at Mallard State Outfitters, West Tennessee. If it lives and you want to hunt it, you can contact him. He'll get you around one. So, Lake of Egypt's a good pick. I tell you where I like, and Colin Walls isn't going to like this, but Percy Priest is one of the most underrated lakes within 2 hours of me. It's really good in the spring, and it does get a lot of pressure, but there's some big fish there. You're welcome, Colin. I won't tell him when to catch it on. Let's see. How come Berkeley doesn't up their rod and reel game? Well, they come out with the new rod now. This is cool. They come out with a rod that's got the Angler Bullseye fused into it. So if you're a guy that's got that app, you can buy that rod and it's built in. So that's pretty cool if you're into that kind of thing. I like the Angler app, and then you don't have to wear nothing on your hat. But my question is, would you need a whole set of rods, to use that? But if you got one rod and you got the thing on your hat, I guess it works both ways. So I do like the Havoc line, but that is going away. All right, on Pickwick, grass just started matting. I'm sorry, grass doesn't mate. Well, I guess it does in my front yard. And bass are schooling on minnows in it. What do you throw in there? So I went to Pickwick several years ago. The first time I was on the lake, and I met this guy at Walmart, and he told me to take a fluke and throw it on top of the mats where they were schooling around and just drag it off. And believe it or not, it worked. There was also the first year the Vixen came out, and I was paralleling those grass lines with like a clear Vixen. I think it was like clear ice or something like that. And those fish were absolutely crushing it. But if there's no minnows around, I'm going to get bit. But chances are if there's minnows right under the mat, there's bait on the outside. I really like Bluebird Days for that. So, what's up, Tony? Yes, that's good, Chris. Fritz did come out with a new line of cranks. So, the Fritz side crankbaits from Berkeley, they're kind of like that Rapala DT7, flat side DT3. I will definitely pick those up. I love the DT flats. They're hard to find. I really do like the Berkeley crankbaits. So I'm really excited to get some of those in my hand. I think that's going to be killer in the spring. I'd love to have some pearl ones or something this fall as well. Let's see here. I know I missed a question. What are my thoughts on Reaction Innovation? So Reaction Innovations is probably one of my favorite companies. They make awesome flipping stuff, awesome big worms, and they make their stuff that's pretty unique. They might have some stuff that's similar, like the Spicy Beaver. Yeah, it's like a flat mini scrub, but you're talking about the guys that basically invented the beaver. I think they have the right to do what they want to with those beaver tails. And you'll see in this Pickwick video that Spicy Beaver goes to work. It's definitely one of my favorite trailers now, and it's a great punching bait. It's a great flipping bait. Great on a swim jig. I like their colors. I like that they're a unique company. Probably one of my favorites out there. So let's see what else. What do you think of Z-Man spinnerbaits? Well, I've had this one. It's been in the package since ICAST last year. I really actually been meaning to throw it because I've heard good things. And I like that now they're doing a lot of like really custom like stuff with the double Colorados and Indiana and stuff like that. The thing about spinnerbaits, if you're going to do it, you've got to do it big because everybody likes different blades. Conditions call for different style blades, different color blades. So you just really can't come out with a single bladed or a tandem spinnerbait and be done with it. And you got guys like Robert Danielson over at Angler Assets, and what Robert to do, he'll make anything you want, and that's cool. You can contact him, and I got one of his spinnerbaits over here, like this guy right here. It's got some chartreuse. Unfortunately, you can't see it with the lighting, but if you want this blade, an Indiana blade, and this one a willow, and you say I want this one chartreuse and white, I think this is called pickled herring. He'll make it up, and that's why I like the small companies like Angler Assets and Accent and Spot Sticker. Like this is a Spot Sticker spinnerbait right here. This is old school, but I love these little painted blades, and I put that skirt on. They will make you anything. Whereas these bigger companies like Z-Man and Strike King, nothing against them, they make good products, but sometimes you can't get that perfect spinnerbait dialed in for your fishing. So, what's up, Frank? That tackle topwater, I would look for it coming very soon. I know it's been out somewhere. I'm gonna go back here and read through some comments. Yes, I've tried P-Line Fluor Clear. I'm not a super big fan of it. I like the newer P-Line fluorocarbon they come out with. I have not used Nishan Lureworks baits, but I have seen them in person at the Knoxville Bassmaster Classic Expo. They look good. Tyler Pignato, have you fished the James Watson spoon? I have not went worldwide. I have seen it in action. We didn't catch anything on it, but it looked good. Spicy Beaver has more action than a Rage Tail crawl. But I still love my Rage Craws. So that's the cool thing about these crawfish baits. I love to cover that on video. You can't just have one, because there are days when they don't want hardly anything, any limb movement, and some days they want as much vibration and stuff you can give. So I always try to keep a whole lot of that. I agree, Big Red Bass. Let's see, what's up, Baitman? Talk about the tackle topwater. Already done that. My hair's falling out. Yep, that Kiara frog is a great frog for the mats. I tell you, I learned from my boy Blake Hall, and I am convinced that the Bobby's Perfect frog is like the best mat fishing frog, period. Dude, he hooked up on like 90% of the fish. Now, he was letting them eat it too, but I need to do a video on that thing, because that Bobby's Perfect frog, a lot of people don't talk about it. They want to talk about Spro and Jackal and all these others, which are great frogs. But dude, Joe's snag proof, it works. So there's a lot of difference between a mat frog and like a regular popping frog. Usually popping frogs aren't very good in the mats. You want a round nose, or you don't want that frog to really dig in the mat. You want it to scoot up on top. And the way that Bobby's Perfect frog is designed, it really scoots on top of the mat, and the nose hits the mat, and it creates noise. So Divine swim baits on underspin good last week in San Diego. Yeah, man, I love these little Divine swim baits. They're from 6 cents. I haven't got to throw them much. I actually went to Lake X Saturday, and I didn't catch hardly any fish. It was pretty tough. Let's see. Accent spinnerbaits are awesome. I'm just reading back comments from guys. I picked up the Z-Man hollow body frog, and it walks really well. So far, hooks are good. Just got to bend them out. Man, do they stick. I haven't seen that. I think I've seen a photo, but I haven't seen them in person yet. Zoom does have a great drop shot worm. The meathead's really good, and the Zoom Swamp Crawler Junior and Swamp Crawler, those are really good drop shot worms. Yeah, unfortunately, Pradco bought War Eagle, but Keith's still making the baits, and I have a feeling if you can get in contact, you could probably get him to make what you need under the table. What's up, man? I got to meet Brant Anderson at a local tackle shop. Dude, that's awesome. Brant is the man. I like him quite a bit. I know he's been catching them. We need to get together. What do you think of Sakoshi bug? I bought a pile, but don't have them yet. I actually have some. They're in my kitchen. I think that's a really cool Ned bait from Catch Company and Mystery Tackle Box. That's one thing I got in the box that I'm like, okay, I definitely want to throw that thing. I'm still learning more on the Ned itself, but I think that would also be a killer, creek bait, especially if you got a lot of hellgrammites and stuff. Got the Babe swim bait. Can you talk about your retrieve with it? Yes. So the Babe, anyone that's bought the Babe swim baits, and Milliken would tell you this because he's thrown them, is it is a very retrieve sensitive swim bait. It is best to throw it and you want to reel about this pace right here. That's why I use a 6:3 to 1 reel, because if you start trying to burn it, it'll blow out and stuff like that. The original ones, you couldn't even really get them to swim. About 1 in every 10 would, but the guys at 3F, they kind of crafted, it's meant for that very slow retrieve. It is meant to creep. It's not meant to burn or fish fast. It's great for suspended bass, fishing above brush piles, stuff like that. Good shallow water swim bait because it doesn't sink very fast. Now, if you get the version that doesn't have the harness in it, you can weight them down even heavier with a beast hook or jig head, and you can fish them a little faster, and they won't roll over hardly at all with a jig head on it because you got all that weight. But with that unharnessed version, you'll notice that head goes back and forth, and that's the killer part. But you gotta fish them slow, and dude, when they hit it, they absolutely knock the crap out of it. So, what's up, Aaron? Jackal cover crawl. Ooh, that's a sneaky bait there. Man, that gavacho is such a good frog. That is my favorite walking frog out there. That's an interesting question. You changed to 13 Fishing since they sold half the company. I think the team at 13 is going to be in charge of the product development and all that stuff, whereas Rapala, they're going to be the money people behind it, the marketing, probably in charge of all the numbers and logistics and stuff like that. So I see that as a win-win for both companies there. What's your favorite popper? Been catching them on the Berkley Pop 70. Well, I'm going to show you my favorite popper. Fits in this box. I'll show you one of them anyway. From my other topwater box. This is kind of old school. My other topwater box. So I got plenty of time tonight. So this is these two are my favorite poppers, and I throw the 6-cent splashback quite a bit as well. But I'm just gonna be honest with you guys. These two have caught me more fish than any. This first one is a Lucky Craft G Splash, and this color has been really good to me. This is Aurora Ghost. It's not like Aurora Black. Instead of chrome, it's see-through. I really do very well on this bait right here. I can get this thing to walk, and it casts really good. Not quite as big as like the OP70 Pop-R, which is still one of my favorites, but I can get these. Matter of fact, I found a dude on eBay or Facebook selling like 10 for like $20, so I snatched them up. But really like this color, very natural color. I'll even go to something like this right here, which is really clear with just that chartreuse back and really clear water. Really like the G Splash. Now, this one, and you can tell, look at all these teeth marks and stuff on this bait. I mean, this thing has been chewed. This is the Rio Rico, and you can get these on TW, and they usually will do a sale on these things around Christmas where they send seconds and blims like half price. But you hear that, it is really loud, and I can make this bait walk really easily. I changed these out to the Aaron Martin's G Finesse trebles on there. It's super sharp. That's my two favorite poppers. I will tell you that this guy right here has taught me a lot of fish. And this is a Profound Outdoors popper that doesn't look special, but man, I'll eat this thing. It's got a little, it spits really good, so I like that bait. But you know, here's the thing with poppers: you're gonna have ones that walk, one that chug, and some that spit. One day they want a chugging one, the next day they want a spitting one. And don't forget the old chug bug. That's a good bait. Let's see here. I do have some Megabass Pop X. So the guys that like the River to Sea Bubble Pop, pretty much the same thing as the Megabass. I love that Megabass one, but I don't throw it a whole lot. I have tried Shimano DC reels. I was one of the first people to use the Corrado DC in the States. Really love it. I got to use the Shimano SLX last week. Bait turns on its size if you crank it too fast. Harness version. Yes, it does. That's what I was explaining. That is meant to fish slow. It is not a fast-moving swim bait. You don't want to burn it. You'll get way more bites. Trust me, if you fish it slow. Yes, I talked to Matt Robertson quite a bit, man. I just talked to him last week. Alright, let's see. Go down and answer some more questions. I did go fish with Blake Hall, James. We talked about you, and he said he enjoyed taking you fishing. Alright. Bet Ike is pumped to be on the same team as Lefebvre now. Yeah, maybe. What rod do you use? A Ben Parker mag and mini mag spoon. So I have an old school Ben Parker spoon rod. I use that. You can get away with a mini mag on like a big flipping stick or swim bait rod, something like that. But the rod I got, it's like 7.5 double extra heavy. It's pretty light. If you can afford it, a Loomis 916C umbrella rig rod is really good as well. Yeah, the Rico seconds are still good. It's usually like paint blemishes and stuff like that. And let's be honest, all bass season on top water is the bottom and maybe a little bit of the side. I have tried the Zowire trebles. They are super sticky. I love Owner stuff, man. They make the best. I have not. I've seen the Profound Clodhopper. I'll be honest, it's kind of like that Wigglewort, Curve 55 kind of bait. It's probably a good bait. Just going to be honest. One I'm probably not going to purchase because I feel what I've got kind of fits what I need. But I'll check it out. Baitman, my favorite big topwater rod. Man, I got a 7.4 Daiwa Tatula. It's the big topwater rod. I really like it, but I feel it's really underpowered for like a Lunker Punker and like the Mega Dog, stuff like that. The topwater rod I use now for almost everything else is a 6.6 All-Star Zellrolling. It's just not going to handle those big 1, 2, 3 ounce topwaters. So personally, I would look for lean to the 7.4 to 7.6, something that's a little bit, almost like a big crankbait rod would work really good for those big topwaters. But you still want to have flex in that rod for when they eat the bait and pin the trebles. But they got to have some backbone. You're right, Sean. Magdraft is exactly the same way. And I feel like that means the bait is telling you need to slow down your retrieve when it starts to do stuff like that. I have fished the 6 Sense Movement. It's a unique bait, and I haven't caught a lot of fish on it, but I have caught several on the Movement Wake. I really like the Movement Wake. That's a great bait. Very sneaky. I have used the Metanium DC. It's lighter than the Corrado DC. I think it casts even smoother. It's a little bit better if you want to use smaller baits. You guys that like to throw wood crankbaits and stuff like that. Easier to cast those handmaids. Even better for skipping like finesse jigs, stuff like that. Really like that Metanium DC. Awesome, Josh. I appreciate it. I'm glad to be back as well. I'm gonna try to stream Saturday night and maybe Thursday night as well. So I'm gonna have to come up with a topic. So I'm just out rambling tonight. Just a rambling man. Thanks, Victor. Appreciate it. Yeah, man. 3 ounce topwater. I think I got one down here So this is the Mega Dog. I mean, this is a big bait. I don't think they put on the packaging exactly what it weighs, but it weighs quite a bit. I have seen the 715 swim bait Sterling. He made those several years ago. It's very similar to the Babe. He actually does a line through version, which is cool. They got different colors. I do think there is a difference between both swim baits, and I don't think I'm not saying anything bad about the 715 or the Babe. I think different strokes, different folks, and you know what? They'll catch fish, man. And I do like the line through design on that, but I do like the Babe because it's really true to the original. I think as far as the way they come out of the mold's a lot smoother. Fish don't care. They don't really care if it looks like it was drug behind a boat or truck, or if it looked brand new. So, Levi, I don't fish the Frankie spinnerbait that much. I really haven't had time. I've done a lot less fishing this year in ledge season than I'd like to. I'm looking for a stiff tip rod, fast tip, sensitive, medium heavy, $150 budget. A broomstick medium heavy around 7.3 with a good handle. Any suggestions? Dobbins 734 Fury would be a really good one. A really good one. That's a $119 rod. I'll be honest, the 6 Sense Sensory rod is $229, but you can get that Lux rod. I've got a 7.1 medium heavy. That's a really good one. But it's not a broomstick, but the fast action on it is definitely there. The 7.3 heavy Daiwa flipping pitching. I throw a football jig on that. It works really, really good. And that's $170. So definitely shop around. There's lots of good stuff. Falcon makes a good rod. Like the Bukus are really good. Baitman, a buddy of mine used the Mega Dog at Bacharach, nailed a 7-pounder. Wow, dude, Frank, I'm ready for a trip on the jank boat. Dobbin Sierra, that's a good one. What's up, Fishing the Mitten? Thanks for joining, man. If you like the content, hit that subscribe button. We do lots of live streams. I love to stroke the Babe. I think we all do, bud. Let's see. Mike. Whoa, man! I'm trying to back up. I'm trying to get all my questions answered, you guys, tonight. If you got a question you really want answered, hit that super chat button. I don't care if it's $1 or $10. I'll make sure I get you taken care of. How much off is Stan's scale in your opinion? Well, that's a funny question. In my opinion, I think Stan is a pretty good judge of fish. But like me, he makes mistakes. We all do. That's why I just don't even put weights with bass. I take photos of. Stan's a good guy. He runs a guide service, and I respect his fishing skills. I'll never take that away from him. Best summer bass lure beside a frog? Probably a deep crankbait. But there's a trick to these crankbaits. So, me, I'm a worm guy. Mag trick worm. Paddle tail worm, that's kind of my game once we get into hot summer, whether it's a 10-inch worm or what. So if you said go fish a lake with a ledge, I would probably make sure I was loaded up on some sort of plum worm. That 6-inch worm, I caught a couple on it the other day. Man, really like it. Anything with the ribbon tail. But what I'll fish for deep brush piles is totally different than what I'm going to fish offshore on like a hump or around grass or stuff like that. Verdict on a sensory rod. Dude, it's my favorite rod I got right now. It's very versatile. Maybe that's why it's my favorite at the moment, because I can do a lot of different things. I can throw I can throw a football jig. The medium heavy is a little soft for me there, but it's a great worm rod, great swim jig rod. I could throw topwater, awesome spinnerbait rod. You can throw some cranks on it. I really like that 7.2 medium heavy, but I've been mostly throwing a shaky head and worming on it and throwing some finesse jigs on it this spring when I got it. Really like that rod. Yes, it should be, Corey. I need to get some more night fishing stuff. I went looking for all my spinnerbaits the other night and didn't find much. I need a good rod just for poppers and small topwater baits. Yes, 6'6" to 6'8". That I think there's a Dobbins Fury 663 maybe. The Daiwa Randy Howell topwater rod, not the AGS Guides one. That's a really good one. Very similar in action. If you don't want to spend a lot of money, Sticks Fishing has what they call like a utility rod for $99. And dude, I caught a 5-pounder on a chatterbait, and it works really good. Great. It's a 7-foot medium action, moderate fast tip, very good rod for $99. That's the cool thing about topwater fishing. You really shouldn't have to spend a lot of money. I couldn't see myself spending over $150 on a topwater rod, especially for small poppers and walking baits, spooks, and stuff like that. Now, Brent Anderson, Redemption Rods, man, he's got an awesome topwater rod. It's probably the best one out there. You'll need to check him out, and he's a topwater master. I'm going to have to get Brent on here to talk some topwater. So, yeah, man, that's a good point, Colin. I would love to get my hands on one. I see them all the time. Let's see. What would you compare the Sensory rod to? I don't know where I could put my hands on when it feels. Honestly, it kind of feels like the older version of the Jackal Poison Ardina rod. That's what it feels like to me. Or maybe even a Shimano X-Pride. The reason I say that is those X-Prides aren't known for having a super fast tip. Usually they have more of a fast action, good backbone, and they're super lightweight. That's what I would compare that to. They don't have cork on. It's got the EVA foam, and those Poison Ardina rods are built very similar to that. How does the Lux compare to the Fury action-wise? I would say the Lux and the Fury. The Lux is a little bit nicer rod as far as aesthetics. The Fury is a good rod. They're very similar as far as the actions, though. So if you like a 7.3 medium heavy on the Fury, you go over to a Lux rod, it'll be very similar. Do I know who Randy Flowers really is? Maybe, maybe not. Let's see. Oh, man. I've got all kinds of questions up on here. Yeah, it's Dr. Funk 7.2 Shimano SLX. That is a good rod for a good price. I love that SLX line. I'm going to get me some Shimano Rios in the next couple months. No offense. I just want to try some of the new stuff out. So, I was used to the Duckett rods when changing up into Micro Magics. Have a good fast tip. I'm looking for something similar. Believe it or not, Duckett makes some great topwater rods. If you want a good parabolic rod, Duckett's are nice. They do have a little tendency to break, but I can't say nothing bad about them. There's a couple rods they got are really unique. You ever throw any Producto plastic? I bet my dad has 10 pounds of Producto worms in his garage at home. Those are old school. Other than the Ned, what would be your go-to bait for Northwest Pennsylvania river smallmouth in the summer? I would be throwing a little finesse swim bait like this, or I would be dragging around a tube. A small finesse tube would be really, really good, especially like on a stupid tube head. What conditions do you throw a paddle tail worm? Okay, I'm going to assume that you're talking about like a baby Huey worm. I actually start throwing the paddle tail stuff when it gets really hot like now and it starts getting tougher on the ledges. I do really good with those big paddle tail worms. Not a lot of people make those anymore. I think Lucky Strike still might make them. There's a couple companies on the internet you can look for, but I'd have to show them off to you. They're way over here, but I like that baby Huey worm. Best spinning combo for less than $200. Then best bait caster combo for less than $100. Spinning combo, if I had to make it up, probably I would go with the Shimano. God dang it! What's the name of it? There's a Shimano Noski and probably an SLX spinning rod will get you right at $200, and that Noski is awesome. Go Daiwa wise, I'd go Daiwa Fuego, and they make those cage rods that are exclusive to retailers. That would be awesome. Now, best bait caster combo for less than $100. I think 13 Fishing makes a couple that are actually really good. If not, you can get a Silver Max combo for like $79, and there's nothing wrong with it. Those Silver Maxes are great reels for the money. Best rod for S-Waver, Dobbins 795. If you want to throw the big one, I'd go with the 805 swim bait rod. Alright, here. Thanks for the donation there, D-Mac Fishing. I promise you I'll spend that 99 cents generously. You are the man. Appreciate helping out to the channel, bud. Let's see. Going back here, I have fished the Dark Sleeper on Kentucky Lake. It's great bait. Favorite 6 cents lure and why? Man, I'm going to be honest with you. The Thud or Quake 70 absolutely slays for me. And that is my favorite. I caught a lot of big jaints on it last year. Tiger Truce, that's the color. Second, actually, believe it or not, I really like the hybrid jig, man. It's starting to be a big player for me. Really like that jig because, man, I can skip it really well. I can flip it, I can pitch it, and then I can cast it out deep. Very good all-around jig. Something I want to have in my box where if I'm just struggling to pick something up, I know I can get that hybrid jig and catch them. Let's see. I have tried PAL rods, man. PAL makes good stuff. I've got an old school Endurance 734, or no, it's a PAL Max before they did the 3D Max in my shed, and that is one of my favorite utility rods. I've thrown small swim baits, I've thrown chatterbaits, I've thrown topwater, I've even thrown square bill crankbaits. It's a really, really good rod. Dude, Jesse, come organize this mess. Y'all hadn't seen nothing yet. Caught a jade on my old 50 MG, old bush rat. Dude, those 50 MGs are nice. You want to sell that thing back to me? I need me another good finesse reel. That is one of the best finesse reels ever made. Maybe one of the best bait casters. So that brings me to a good tip. There's a lot of guys, y'all always ask the best reels for this price and that price. I'm going to tell you, if you've got an extra $100, $125 and you want to find the best reel, go look at the old Shimano Chronarch 50 MGs, the Chronarch E series. There's nothing wrong with buying news. They are some of the best reels ever made. Absolute tanks. I don't know anyone that doesn't like them. I mean, they're 20 years old now, and they're as good as some of the stuff on the market now. Baitman, your honest opinion on ugly stick fishing rods. You know what? They're not going to break on you. They're not the most sensitive, but we all have different budgets. And we all have different tastes, and some guys, they want durability. They want to throw stuff in their pickup truck. They want to go hot ponds. They want to go fish at the pond behind their work. Don't want to spend a lot of money. Don't worry about if anything gets jacked out of the truck. There's nothing wrong with an ugly stick. And I'll say this about everything else. It's all what you like. I mean, I like stuff, and I can give you my opinion. But there's nothing wrong with fishing with the ugly stick. Now, if you're real left-handed, there might be something wrong with you. I'm just kidding. I wish I could reel left-handed. Let's see. What's up, part-time fishing? You're going to run into a lot of those rods now. Kanite, I'm going to hopefully that have a soft tip now. I personally don't like an extra fast tip unless I'm fishing grass or maybe stroking a jig. What size hook for Zoom Old Monster, 5/0 or 6/0 EWG? I use a 5/0 strength shake. I don't a round bend owner. That's my favorite worm hook. I don't hardly ever use a 6/0, but I don't use an EWG on those Old Monsters. Now I got some guys that swear by it, and if I was going to, I'd probably use the Gamakatsu Deep Throat hook. That's a really good one. But owner makes a jungle wide gap now. Made with Zowire. That I was throwing some creature baits on this spring. That's a really good hook. Next Baitman box, probably we're going to do it around end of August. It'll be a fall box with 6 cents. Probably going to see if we can slide you some of these 6 cents plastics in there, and some topwater baits. Should be a really good deal. What do you think about Limits IMX Pro? That's a sweet rod. Really like the IMX Pro. Probably one of the more underrated Limits rods out there. Everyone's GLX and NRX, but for a budget guy that wants a really good rod, I really like the IMX Pro. Those 844s are awesome rods. That was probably the 844 IMX at one time was the Kentucky Lake jig rod for a long time. If you fished a jig out deep on Kentucky Lake, that's what you threw it on, was 844. That's true. No, E6X, they aren't bad. I just do feel that at that price, there's a lot better rods out there. And I like some of the... I'm not a big fan of the... aesthetics on the E6X. Like, I can tell it's a cheaper Loomis. Whereas... I look at NRX, GLX, IMX, and I go, that's a nice bass rod. E6X, I'm just kind of like, At that price, I would buy like a Falcon Cara. Dude, I got to get some Mega Bass stuff going. We need to go fishing, man. Who wins the FLW Cup? I'm going to make a prediction. I'm going to go with Brad Knight. I think Brad Knight is going to repeat. I don't know why. I just got this feeling. Since the Vols can't win anything in football, Brad might as well win the Force Wood Cup again. But Zach Burge did really good too that year, so I'm going to go with Brad or Zach is my pick to click. I do think it'd be really weird though, as if ZB won and he's an MLF guy. But so that brings me to this. A lot of people talk about, well, if they fish Major League Fishing, they can't fish anything else. That's false. There's no rule that says they're not allowed to fish Bass Opens or Costas or any of that stuff. As long as they can fit it in their schedule, they're allowed to do that. So I think some changes to MLF are coming next year. I think it'll be good for the sport as well, and probably good for the anglers. I don't know what it is, but I know those guys talk and they pay attention to everybody. So not sure what happened to Jason Christie. You'd have to ask Randy. Man, I haven't used the new Lowrance trolling motor. One thing I don't like about Ultrex is it doesn't have that breakaway shaft that you can get on Fortrex. I'll be honest. If you don't have to have spot lock, Fortrex is the best trolling motor ever made. It is absolute. It's a shallow water fisherman's dream. It is brutally strong. Yeah, man, Jacob Wheeler is just unreal. He's on a different level. That guy can catch fish. MLF format is awesome for him. What's the deal about PC Fun Reel I see on Facebook? They're just a reel made overseas. I've got one they sent me. I'm not going to bash anybody's reel or product. Yeah, it's a decent reel. It does have 10 ball bearings. If you're a budget guy, they make some good stuff for you. But you're not going to get the bells and whistles on their reel like you'll see on like a Corrado from Shimano or a Daiwa or heck even a Luz. It's just a very plain Jane style reel. They work, but it's made for the budget guy, so you're going to get a few that aren't perfect in there. So I personally going to stay away from stuff like that. Would I use it? Yeah, I'd use it. That would be a great, don't care pond hopping setup there. I'll catch crap from them all the time. I feel the same way about. I actually like them better than 6-Gill though, because the 6-Gill pro staffers are like freaking hemorrhoids, man. They won't get off your ass. Like if you post something on Facebook about I'm not a fan of 6-Gill, I mean they'll just come at you from all angles. I promise you, if one of them's watching this video, I'll have my comment section to get lit up too. They're almost, I don't need to get on another pro staff rant. Is Mark Menendez the only angler that didn't finish a sentence? Are some real parts made overseas and assembled in the USA and vice versa? I'm not sure about reels. I know rods are. A lot of rod stuff's made overseas and they're assembled in the United States. So, dude, I like Dustin Conejo. He's a good dude. I'm not ever discouraging nobody from buying that stuff, but they do have some good deals on some rods. I mean, I've seen like 2 for $49. It's really hard to beat that, whether they're good or not. It's $49. As they once said, I'm not gay, but $20 is $20. So, anyway, I've never used much of the KastKing stuff, so I can't comment. I've got a friend that lives in Paris, Tennessee. He really likes it. His name's Kendall Arnold, and he's been fishing a lot more than me lately, and he likes them. So that's why I really don't like to bash stuff, because it's really a personal preference at the end of the day. That's why I really get pissed off at YouTube, all these freaking new YouTube guys clickbaiting this stuff. I watched one of the worst videos I've ever seen the other day. And James McMullen would love this video, because I know James, and this dude just flat out talks about how Megabass Vision 110 is trash, it's the worst bait, and blah blah blah. I'm like, dude, you're pond fishing 4-acre golf course ponds in Florida. Of course they're not going to buy the jerk bait, man. And that's no disrespect to the dude at all. I'm just like, hey, instead of titling your video, "These 5 baits suck," maybe you should put, "I suck at fishing these 5 baits." And I'll get it. But we got to get the clicks, and we got to get the views. And one thing you're not going to see on this channel, I might kind of clickbait, but I'm not going to straight lie up on your face. I'm not going to do that kind of stuff just to get views. I'm not going to hook myself with crankbaits and show you how to get the hook out. Yeah, I'm talking about you, Darian. I like you, buddy. And that's actually a cool video, but I'm not going to like hang myself with a treble hook and say, "Get this out of my neck." So, actually, Darren's got some pretty good content. I'm not going to lie. I watch his ledge fishing videos. He's got it going on. So, but dude, this clickbaiting stuff it's out of control, man. Like, I could easily like make a thumbnail with some big old titties on here and say "Chick reviews baits," and just, have my wife stand over here. I'm not going to do that kind of stuff. Although I am trying to get my wife to be on the stream, because she's really funny. I think she might cut my hair on live stream Saturday, because it needs it pretty bad. So, I agree, Jason. And there's nothing wrong with fishing. Here's the deal. I want everyone to have fun fishing. There's nothing wrong with fishing golf courses or ponds. Heck, you'll probably see me fishing ponds here on this channel. There's a couple unique ones by me. I'm waiting for permission to fish, because they're really cool and there's a history behind them. But I'm a lake guy, and honestly, I just like to sit and talk about baits. I tell you guys all the time, I'm not the best fisherman. I don't claim to be, but I do love me some baits, and I do love talking about them. And a lot of the information I get, I've learned through being in the boat with several pros and stuff like that. So I feel like if I tell you about something, there's a reason, Do you ever think everybody has one bait that can't catch fish on, but everybody else? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Me would be like, I'm really terrible at flipping grass with a grass jig. And I can't catch them on it. And I feel that's one bait that, man, if that was the only thing I had to fish, I'm starving. It used to be a jerk bait. In the last couple of years, I've gotten really confident in jerk bait, and I've grown to really love jerk bait fishing. Yeah, I actually almost thought I was actually going to do something like that. It was actually going to say why I'm pissed off at YouTube. So, well, I'm not saying Mark is solving it, but Mark is probably the most vocal angler as far as being active with the Asian carp issue. And I'll applaud Mark for his efforts. I'm going to get Mark on here. I think Mark could definitely come on and do a Baitman stream with you guys. I bet he's got some of the new Strike King plastics. So maybe I need to call Mark and get him over here. We can talk about Asian carp. We can talk about fishing the Elite Series. He's a good friend of mine. He has literally known me since I was like this big. So, what's up, Dr. Funk? I've thought about doing a podcast. I don't know what I would do different other than when I talk about it on video. I'm kind of trying to do the Joe Rogan thing right now, although it's just me. But if I can get another webcam, another mic, I can send somebody across. I'm running out of room here, but I don't know what I would do on a podcast. So if anybody's got some tips or suggestions on how I would translate from a webcast to a podcast, let me know. And maybe we call it the Baitcast or something like that. Because I'll be honest, I love talking about college football. And I can get on a tear ragging on the University of Alabama and Georgia Bulldogs. But I ain't going to hold it against y'all if y'all are fans of those schools. Just know I root against you. So, you said a few weeks ago you talked about Googan crankbaits being 6 cents ripoffs. Please explain. Well, I don't have my phone with me, but if I've shown you the screenshot of their flat side crankbait, you could tell that it is a ripoff. So looky here. I've got this guy right here. This is Bait Junior. Here, you gotta look at the camera. Here, stand up here. Baitman Junior has joined. He's giving me hugs. Here, look at the camera. Here, get up on the chair. Yeah, get up.
I'm stuck to a...
Uh-oh, you're stuck. This guy's gotten so big. See the camera up there, Brooks? You gotta look at the camera. So Brooks is going to start a YouTube channel. Brooks, what's going to be the name of your YouTube channel? You gotta look at the camera. You can't be on YouTube if you don't look at the camera, huh? Are you going to be Brooks the Bait Man? What are you going to talk about? You going to talk about toys? You gotta talk.
Yes.
Hey, what's your favorite fishing bait?
Swim bait.
Swim bait. You ready to get down? All right.
Oh.
Yeah, so y'all remember that Brooks the Bait Man, and he's probably going to talk about Legos. So I like Stray Cast. It's a good show. See. Went to Dick's and to get some Strike King lures, and they replaced that company with Googan baits. That sucks, man. I'm Strike King, ride or die. I love those guys, and I really like their new Ned baits they got coming out for iCast. That new Ned bug, Rage bug, that's awesome. And then they got a baby Rage bug, which is definitely needed. How far from Murfreesboro are you, Baitman? About an hour and 45 minutes. Hour and 45 minutes. Yeah, I like the cats at Stray Cast, man. I've been on their show before. I'd love to get back on there, so. Dude, Bloodhound 122, I love the flying lure. Believe it or not, it still has a place. That was a really good idea, and it definitely works. I have caught a lot of fish on a flying lure if you just use it as a tube. And I actually caught them skipping docks with it. It's not a miracle lure, but man, it does work. I really like the flying lure. I know some guys that flip it in grass and just Texas rig it because it slides in and out really easy, if you know what I'm saying. Can you get me a 5% discount on Googan? James, I think the Googans may charge me 5% more. So whatever that is, the opposite of a discount. Like I get a 10% anti-Googan tax. And, I like John B. He's a cool dude. He's probably one of the better fishermen up there. Big man, do you remember the Head and Tiny or Tad Polly? That was kind of before my day. Dustin Taylor, I found a flying lure stuck in a tree the other day. Isn't that kind of ironic? A flying lure in a tree. I promise you when those came out when I was like Baitman Junior's age, I put some in a tree too. I mean, I was in a helicopter. I saw Milliken put this helicopter lure gift pack and do a fishing thing with the helicopter lure, which I thought was cool and unique. But I was in a commercial for the helicopter lure when I was like about 2 years older than my son. And I've told the story before, but me and Roland aren't friends. Me and Roland ain't friends because of it. Just didn't work out good for me. So I'm going to show y'all this little bait right here. So I got my topwater bait out. I'm talking about a bait that ain't nobody talk about, and it slays. This guy right here. Mayfly hatch time. When it's tough and they're eating those little bitty minnows, those bass are blowing up everywhere and they don't want to eat. Get you that guy right there. That's a Cotton Cordell Crazy Shad. And the slower you fish this thing, the better. And I've got one right here that is ate up. This one caught a ton of fish. See how the paint flakes off these things the more fish you catch. So you don't have to buy a bone. You can buy chrome and black. And eventually you catch enough fish, they'll be like that right there. Here's another one I've got. So this is one of those baits that guys throw all the time, and they just don't want to talk about it. So here's one that's got tooth marks all over it. And then I save them when the chrome flakes off, and I get one like this guy right here. That's bone. But fish this thing really, really slow. And the deal is, when you stop this bait, those little props still spin in the water. Dude, this thing is so killer when they're eating those little bait fish. One of the first times I actually caught 2 fish in a row was on one of those. I remember where I was at when that happened. I was about 15. I caught 2 fish at the same time. It's 2 little spotted bass. What's up, Luke Miller? Yeah, man, Luke Miller got to go to Lake X with me this weekend. Luke can tell you, I had a really bad experience with the Nico rig. Like, I almost threw shit in the bottom of my boat. I was mad, but I'm glad Luke caught a couple jaints, even though we've got to train Luke to quit reeling fish up to his rod tip. So this is a funny story. Luke's in the back of the boat, me and my buddy Jake, and I'm shaking my Nico rig here, and all of a sudden I hear "Koof," and it scares me. I'm like, what the heck? And I look back, and dude's cranking on like a 6-pounder. I'm like, dude, why didn't you say anything? He's like, I don't know, I just forgot to. But he got it in, so. I don't know. I wish Matt Allen would come back to Lake X. We had a good time fishing out there. Bush Rat, I think I got a Gilmore jumper somewhere. This thing is so unorganized. What's up, Brian? Thanks, man. I appreciate it. That was a Cotton Cordell Crazy Shad. I think they have them on TW. Land Big Fish definitely carries them as well. If you, oh man, I'd love to be in a machine shop. You know, I'd make a mold for something. Yep, Jake's got some Nico rig tricks I'd like to get on camera, but I don't know if he's going to let us do that, Billy. Don't know. Bateman, any rigging tips for Ned using a Ned lock? Said I kept having to replace my Z-Man TRD because it kept pulling down. When you push it on there, make sure you like pinch that plastic so it like kind of vacuum effect suck in. If not, put a little dab of super glue on there and it ain't coming off. Just give it like 2 or 3 minutes before you put it in. A little bit of Loctite super glue, it ain't gonna come off. I wish I had my Ned box here, but I like stuff, you know, like this, like for example, like this Hog Farmer stand-up Ned. I like how they got that wire keeper. It keeps baits on there really, really well. One cool thing about his stand-up Ned, it's got a little bit longer hook than most people's, and just a little wire weed guard. This is sweet. But I gave these to a guy at work, and he's been slaying fish on this thing. So, what else have I got here? I'm going to have to jump off here because I'm fixing to have to go eat some tacos. That's a good question. With so many plastics on the market, what separates the new 6 Sense plastics? I think their colors are kind of like their hard baits. They've really fine-tuned the colors to be a little different and be special. Their designs are pretty unique, I'm going to be honest. You know, yeah, it's hard to really do a different version of Cinco, but I like their stuff, their colors, and the price is really good on them. I'm going to be honest. The price is really good on them. I like the Divine Swim Bait. It's kind of like a cross between a Kitech and a Skinny Dipper. They got some unique colors. It's just a very good, versatile little swim bait that you can put on the back of a swim jig or chatterbait. And I know that they just didn't go find some soft plastic overseas and say, let's put our name on it. They actually did a lot of R&D on this stuff. So I think they got a big ribbon tail worm coming out next year. I'm really excited about. So Working Class Zero baits, they are good. They are hard to find, but I do like those. I've never thrown the pivot head from Hog Farmer, but I've always thought, why didn't someone make like a finesse, hard head deal? I like what he's got going on there. But anyway, well, dudes, ladies, gentlemen, I'm I'm fixing to have to get off here. And 8 o'clock, Pickwick Lake video dropping on here. So do me a favor, when the Pickwick video comes up, smash the like button, leave a comment, tell me what you think of it, and I'm going to get the second part out pretty soon. So guys, y'all have a good evening. I'm going to run in here, eat some tacos, take a shower, and head to work. So thank you guys so much. Y'all have a good night.